Okay, Isaac, this is looking at your start technique a little bit. So I think one of the major things is that two things. One is your lower arm recovery height, at least during the starts. I don't know if this is necessarily what you're doing during the lengthen portion, but we do see this during the starts. So the first thing is that lower hand, and then the second thing is how far you're sitting up, even as we're transitioning into the up call. So let me go back here again to the start here. Okay, so that was the first stroke. If you take a look, I mean, the first stroke is supposed to be long, so that's that's a fine amount of sitting up. The second stroke, third stroke, still sitting up a bit, and then now we're going to go into the up calls right now. So this is when you should really be rapidly transitioning to staying in a slightly more aggressive lean position and not sitting up so much, because you're starting to fall behind a little bit. At some point you start getting into your lean, but it's a little bit late. But you can see that your paddle in the back end when you exit still trails behind like Matthews a little bit, because you're exiting a little bit late because you're pulling back a little bit further. What that ends up doing is making you have to rush into your catch right as you get to the front, because everyone else is already catching. You have to immediately go in, and so you don't really have as much time to get a good solid setup in front. And then occasionally it ends up causing a slightly messy catch too, with a little bit more splash than others. Another thing is how you're exiting with that lower hand. So your hand here ends up going quite high, like almost above Matthew's shoulder height there, because of the way you're exiting that paddle out. So if we take a look, if we take a look at most people's exit technique, right? The blade slices out and forward, stays low to the water, and then as it's coming out through here, the blade is still kind of in a feathered position, whereas you kind of square your blade up a little bit quicker, and you pick up that paddle quite a bit higher. Okay. So I think that extra height and up above the air adds a little bit of distance in terms of getting back into your setup just above the water. So that increase in distance also means it takes you longer to get back into setup and then into your catch. I know Matthew sometimes is slightly slow on his entry too, and sometimes you are in time with him, but both of you guys are a little bit slow there. Again, it's not through like the entire starts, and it's not always through every single one of these starts, but something to keep in mind. I do see that lower hand recover kind of high generally, so just keep an eye out for that. Okay.